Imagine a world long before our time, a world where magnificent creatures roamed the earth and soared through the skies. This was the age of the dinosaurs, a truly spectacular period in our planet's history. But not all the incredible animals from this era were dinosaurs. Some were masters of the air, a group of flying reptiles we call pterosaurs. Among the most famous of these is the creature often called the pterodactyl. They were the very first vertebrates, animals with backbones to achieve powered flight, taking to the heavens millions of years before the first birds or bats ever did. It is a truly remarkable feat of evolution, a story of life conquering the skies. When we hear the name pterodactyl, we often picture a single type of leathery winged creature. However, the term actually refers to a specific genus, Pterodactylus, which was one of the first pterosaurs ever discovered. The name itself means wing finger, a perfect description for how its amazing wings were constructed. These animals were not birds, nor were they dinosaurs, but an entirely separate and fascinating group of reptiles that dominated the prehistoric skies for an astonishing amount of time. They witnessed the rise and fall of countless dinosaur species, sharing a world that was vastly different from the one we know today, full of lush forests and shallow seas. The allure of the pterodactyl is undeniable. It captures our imagination with its unique and almost mythical appearance. It represents a time when life on Earth was experimenting with new and wonderful ways to survive and thrive. To think of these creatures gliding on ancient winds, looking down upon herds of gigantic sauropods or fearsome tyrannosaurs, is to transport ourselves back to a lost world. They were the kings of the sky, a vital part of a vibrant ecosystem. Their story is a crucial chapter in the grand narrative of life, showing us the incredible diversity that once graced our planet and the endless possibilities of nature's design. Our journey to understand these animals begins with fossils, the stone remnants of their existence. Scientists, called paleontologists, carefully unearth these fossils from rocks that are millions of years old. Each bone, each fragment is a clue that helps us piece together the puzzle of what pterodactyls were like. They tell us about their size, their diet, and even how they moved. It is through this patient and meticulous work that we can resurrect the image of these ancient sky kings, allowing them to fly once more, if only in our minds and on our screens, inspiring wonder and curiosity in all of us. Let us examine the pterodactyl more closely. What did this extraordinary creature actually look like? Its most defining feature was, of course, its wings. These were not made of feathers like a bird's wing, but of a leathery membrane of skin and muscle. This membrane stretched from the side of its body all the way to the tip of a tremendously long fourth finger on each hand. Their other three fingers were short and had claws, likely used for climbing or gripping onto surfaces. This wing finger design is unique in the history of life and was the secret to their incredible ability to fly through the prehistoric air. The size of pterosaurs varied enormously across the many different species. The first one discovered, Pterodactylus, was relatively small, with a wingspan of about 1 meter, similar to that of a modern seagull. However, other members of the pterosaur family were giants. The mighty Quetzalcoatlus, for example, was one of the largest flying animals of all time, boasting a colossal wingspan of up to 11 meters. That is as wide as a small aeroplane. Imagine such a creature soaring overhead. It would have been a truly breathtaking and perhaps terrifying sight, casting a vast shadow upon the ground below. Beyond their wings, pterodactyls had other fascinating features. Their bodies were lightly built to help them stay airborne, with bones that were thin and hollow, much like the bones of birds today. Many pterosaurs had long, slender jaws filled with sharp, needle-like teeth, perfect for snatching slippery fish from the water. Some species also had remarkable crests on their heads. These crests came in all shapes and sizes, from small, bony knobs to large, elaborate sails. Scientists believe these crests may have been used for display, perhaps to attract mates or to signal to other pterodactyls, adding a splash of color and personality to these ancient reptiles. The overall appearance of a pterodactyl was unlike anything alive today. It had the reptilian head, the bat-like wings, and a body that was uniquely its own. Some scientists now believe that many pterosaurs were covered in a type of fuzzy fiber, a bit like fur, called sycnofibers. This covering would have helped them to regulate their body temperature, keeping them warm in a world that was constantly changing. This detail paints a picture of a far more complex and active animal than the simple, scaly reptile we once imagined. A warm-blooded creature perfectly adapted for a life in the air. Pterodactyls lived during the Mesozoic era, often called the Age of Reptiles, which lasted from about 252 to 66 million years ago. Their fossils have been found all over the world, from Europe and Africa to the Americas, indicating they were a widespread and successful group. They thrived in environments near water, particularly along the coastlines of ancient oceans and large inland seas. These locations provided them with an abundant source of food and places to roost. Picture a flock of pterodactyls gathered on a coastal cliff at sunset, their silhouettes stark against the fading light, a common sight in that primeval world. Their diet was as varied as their size and shape. The smaller pterodactyls, like Pterodactylus, likely hunted for small fish, insects, and other tiny creatures. With their long beaks and sharp teeth, they could easily pluck a meal from the surface of the water or snatch a dragonfly from mid-air. Larger pterosaurs had a different menu. Some were skilled fishers, gliding low over the waves and using their keen eyesight to spot prey. Others may have been scavengers, feeding on the carcasses of dead dinosaurs, while some of the largest land-dwelling species may have even hunted small dinosaurs, stalking them on the ground like a prehistoric stork. The mechanics of their flight have long been a subject of great scientific interest. Unlike birds that flap their entire arms, pterodactyls generated lift primarily with the outer part of their wings, powered by that extraordinary fourth finger. They were likely expert gliders, able to use thermal updrafts and ocean breezes to soar for long distances with minimal effort. Getting into the air might have been a different challenge. Some scientists believe they used a powerful quad launch, pushing off the ground with both their powerful arms and legs to vault themselves into the sky, a truly explosive and efficient takeoff. Recent fossil discoveries have given us a glimpse into the family life of these flying reptiles. We have found fossilized eggs, some with tiny, perfectly formed pterodactyl embryos still inside. These eggs had soft, leathery shells similar to the eggs of modern lizards and turtles, suggesting they were buried in sand or soil to keep them safe and warm. It is believed that some pterosaur species may have nested in colonies, much like seabirds do today. Some evidence even suggests that baby pterodactyls, known as flaplings, might have been able to fly very soon after hatching, ready to join their parents in the great open skies. The reign of the pterodactyls and all other pterosaurs came to an end about 66 million years ago, during the same mass extinction event that wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs. A catastrophic asteroid impact changed the world's climate so drastically that these magnificent sky kings could not survive. For millions of years, their story was lost, buried deep within the Earth's rock layers. It was only through the discovery of their fossilized remains that we began to understand that another group of animals had conquered the skies long before the birds we know and love today took flight. Studying these ancient creatures is incredibly important for science. Pterodactyls provide us with a unique case study in the evolution of flight. By analyzing their hollow bones, their wing structure, and their body mechanics, we can learn about the different ways that life can solve complex engineering problems, like getting a body off the ground. They show us that nature is a brilliant innovator, capable of producing designs that are both elegant and effective. Their existence challenges our understanding of what is possible and pushes us to ask new questions about the history of life on our planet. Furthermore, learning about pterodactyls helps us build a more complete picture of prehistoric ecosystems. They were not just passive observers in the age of dinosaurs, they were active participants. They were predators, prey, scavengers, and competitors. Understanding their role helps us to appreciate the complexity and interconnectedness of these ancient environments. When we imagine a triceratops munching on plants, we should also imagine a pterodactyl soaring overhead, reminding us that life existed not just on the land and in the sea, but also in the air, creating a rich and three-dimensional world. Ultimately, the story of the pterodactyl is a story of wonder. It is a reminder that our planet has a deep and spectacular history, filled with animals more fantastic than any myth or legend. They teach us that extinction is a natural part of life's grand cycle and that the world is constantly changing. By studying these fossils, we are not just looking at old bones, we are looking through a window into a lost world. And in doing so, we learn more about the processes that have shaped all life, including our own, fostering a deeper appreciation for the incredible ongoing story of evolution on planet Earth.